I was a woman who lived in the midst of the darkness, listening to the voices that told me, you can't. You will never lose weight. You're 350 pounds because that's all you'll ever be. I was stuck in this horrible place of isolation, depression. I completely had lost faith in myself. I completely had disconnected to my own faith. I had completely believed every lie that was in my head about who I was: incapable, fat forever, unlovable, unworthy, and just not good enough. Is that how you feel? Because if you do, I have a story you need to hear. So, back in 2018, I broke up from a relationship, but man, did it ever get through me. So, when we broke up, I hid. I buried myself under food. I ate through my pain and tried to swallow it down. And in doing so, I gained 200 pounds in a couple of years. 200 pounds. I weighed 350 pounds. And that is massive, massive, massive. And if you're someone stuck in depression, if you're someone stuck in being overweight and those voices are telling you you can't do this, if you are hearing you're not good enough, if you're hearing you never ever should have tried in the first place, those are lies. My story of coming out of that dark place is worth you listening to, because in the midst of it all, I have 4 kids that are adults now, and I have 2 beautiful little granddaughters that are 2.5. My daughter came to me on August 14th, 2022, and I actually was quite ill at 350 pounds and said to me that I wasn't going to live long enough to see these little babies grow. And I've told this story and I can never say it without crying, so I'm not going to give you all the details, but yeah, the emotions come every time. Um, when I heard her say that to me, it hit me. It reached through the darkness. It banged me. And I said, no, I can't do that. I have to live to see these babies grow. I love them. I love them. I love them. Nobody can give them my love. Nobody can sing them the songs I'm going to sing them. Nobody can dance with them the way I want to dance with them. No one can teach them what I want to teach them, because only I have the desire that I have. Everybody else is a blessing to them too, but only I have what I have to give them, and I have to give them what I have to give them. And that day, it woke me up. It shook me up. It took me out of that place of complete lies that said, you can't. And I said, I can. Period. That very day, I joined a group for overeaters online, and I started my weight loss immediately. I cut out sugar. I cut out flour. I made my portion sizes, which used to be portions like this, 3 times a day with 3 portions every time. I took my binges, which were a bowl of popcorn every night, which were 12 honking cookies every morning from, sorry, 12 honking cookies from Tim Hortons every morning. And I ate every single one of them, plus breakfast, plus lunch, plus snacks, plus dinner, plus. It was unending. I ate and ate. Every time I had a moment of, Easter, maybe you can do better than this. Oh, no, I can't. And I ate. Every time I said, oh, I feel so sad, I ate. Every time I thought anything, I ate. And so I was in this pit of darkness. I was in this depression that was so big and so dark. I did not believe I could ever claw my way out of it. But that day, I found my purpose. And you need purpose. You need to have a reason. You need to believe something is important enough for you to get out of the darkness, for you to say, okay, I'm going to change what I do, and I'm going to do what I have to do to get out of it. And I did. I changed my eating habits. I attended a group weekly. I started to talk to people about the things that I had buried down inside of me. And you know, the problem with the food was, and this is the problem, if you're overweight, I want you to hear something. You're not normal. You're not a person who's broken. You just have a coping mechanism that shows, because every time you eat, you put weight on. Every time you binge, you put weight on. Other people who spend too much money, you can't see that they're overindulging themselves. Every person who's a gambler, every person who is addicted to other unmentionable things, they have the same problems. They aren't coping in a healthy way. But because you're overweight, because you're 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight, you feel like you're the only one. You feel like you're not normal. You feel like everybody else can, but you can't. And you want to know something? That's not true. But your weight shows. Your problems live on your body because that's the way you cope with things. And I want to tell you something. There is a right way to cope with things. And the problem is not that you're coping in the wrong way. The problem is you haven't been taught how to cope with things and hurt and pain and stress and people judging you and people being mean to you. You just haven't been taught how to deal with it in a healthy way. You haven't been taught how to be able to process your feelings, to process your pain, to process your anger, to process your sadness in a way that is healthy. I want to help you do that. I have my channel for that reason and that reason alone. Yeah, I can tell you what to eat. Yes, I can tell you to exercise, but you know what? That is not the solution to your problem. Yes, you need to change your eating habits and your mobility habits 100%. But what you really need is to learn to deal with the pain, to learn to deal with hard situations, to learn to even deal with binging and boredom and all the reasons you shouldn't be eating. That is the problem. If you learn to process things in the way I've been blessed to learn, and I will share everything with you because that's what I'm here for, you will climb out of the darkness and you will find hope, and hope latches on, and you grab that hope and you say, you know what, maybe she did it. Maybe I can do it. Maybe not. But maybe, if you're saying, but maybe, you already have a strand of hope. You already are taking a baby step, because if you're not entirely in this place that says you can't, it means you're in a place that's saying, maybe you can. And I'm telling you, it's not a maybe. You can, just as much as I did. So I had to come from learning to not eat in ways that were harmful to me, because food is good. I love my food. Food is nutritious. It's fuel. It's a blessing to our body, but it is not the answer to our pain. It may feel like it for a few seconds because you get this, oh, that tastes so good. That's exactly what I needed feeling. I know it. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to think, oh, if I just drive to the store and I grab some ice cream, I'm going to feel so much better. I've done that drive. I've gone to McDonald's. I've gone to get ice cream. I've gone to get pizza. I've gone to the store and bought 20 bags of chips and cookies and everything else. I have done it. I know what it feels like to put that first bite in your mouth and you go, oh. But tell me something. I know how good it feels when you put it in your mouth and you keep putting it in your mouth. But tell me something. After it's over and your binge is done, the ice cream's finished, the cookies are finished, the triple portions are finished, the popcorn's finished, the chip bags are lying by your side. What do you say to yourself? Do you say, oh, I feel fantastic now. I'm so glad I did that? I sure didn't. I said, what the heck did you just do? You did it again. You are such a loser. What the hell is wrong with you? And I beat myself up, and I was disgusted with myself, and I felt myself gorging from all the food I'd eaten, and I was stuffed to the point of discomfort, like real discomfort, not just, oh, I feel full. It was like, oh, I can't eat another thing or I'm going to puke. That's how much I would eat. I know what it's like. And then at the end of it, you don't say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that. Now I have the answers. The pain has gone away. I am so glad I indulged. I am so glad that I broke my promise to myself. I am so glad that I gained another 10 pounds today. No, you don't say that. You say, what the heck did I just do? And you live in regret. You live in guilt. You live in shame. You live in remorse. You beat yourself up and then you do it again to feel better. That is a vicious cycle. That is the truth. That is the truth you need to hear. Because if you want out of this darkness and you take a look at what food really is, it is not comfort. It is not emotional happiness. It is not your friend. And it is not going to make you feel less bored, less lonely, less anything. It's just your way of coping, and it's the wrong way of coping. So, what did I do? I decided to not only change my eating habits and get mobile, because mobility was an issue for me. If I walked from my bed to my bedroom door 10 feet, I was already out of breath. If I went another 5 feet after that, I was panting, and it was so embarrassing. I'd start sweating walking 10 feet. I'd start sweating at the thought of moving. I couldn't pick things up. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't fit in chairs. I had so many things that I couldn't paint my toenails, for God's sake, because my feet and my stomach were in the way. And I don't like my toenails not painted. My whole life, my toenails have been painted. Since I was a little girl, I had this, have to have my toenails painted. And that sounds really ridiculous and shallow, but I just like having pretty toes. What can I say? So, all these things that bother you about being big, about not wanting to look in the mirror, about feeling ashamed and disgusted with yourself, so much so that maybe, like me, you have stopped talking to your friends. Maybe, like me, you shut yourself out from the world. Maybe, like me, you didn't go out unless you had to, and usually that was for food, or the medical reasons you need to go because your weight is making you unhealthy. Then let's take a look at how you can get this changed, because you can. I learned that swallowing my feelings down wasn't helping me. And I learned that I can process my feelings through being truthful, through being honest and saying, oh, I feel like eating. That probably means something's going on. What's going on? What am I dealing with, or what am I trying to avoid dealing with? And right in that moment, I would stop what I was doing and I would journal about it, and I would pray about it, and I would pray on how to get through it, and I'd pray for answers. And I know not everybody prays, and that's fine, but we all have something inside us. Maybe you have a gut feeling. Maybe you believe in the universe. Maybe you believe in God. Maybe you believe in Mother Nature. Maybe you believe in that still small voice inside you. I don't care what you believe in, but there's something in you that gets nudged from that still small voice, from a gut feeling, from the universe leading you. Whatever it is, your creator, your something is there with answers. And you go and you ask for the answers and you get them. You get them. When you earnestly ask, you get them, because you know what? Whatever it is that is leading and guiding you does not want you unhappy, does not want you suffering, does not want you struggling day after day after day, seeing yourself in disgust, seeing yourself with hatred. That is not who you are created to be. You are created to be someone who loves yourself, who can be kind to yourself, someone who looks at me and says, oh, she felt that bad about herself. That's terrible. She's such a nice person. Why would she feel that way? Right? Look in the mirror. You're such a nice person. You're a good person. Why would you feel that way about yourself? Your weight is not your identity. I looked at myself and I said, well, it's Fat Easter. And I said, my friends think I'm Fat Easter. And society looks at me as Fat Easter. But you know what I did? I judged my friends and I stopped talking to them and I lost them because I would not talk to anybody anymore because I thought I was Fat Easter. But you know what? To them, I was just Easter. And maybe I put some weight on, but I was still just Easter. I wasn't Fat Easter except to me. I wasn't this horrible person except to me. I wasn't disgusting except to me. And maybe there are a few jerks out there who would look at me and say, oh, fat Easter. Ugh. And maybe they are people like that. But you know what? They're not people I want to know anyways. They're not people I care what they think about me, because I really don't want to associate with someone that looks at someone and says, oh, fat Easter, or, oh, that person who always wears black. They're not my friend. They're not your friend. That person who looks at you and says fat you is not a friend. Leave them alone. They don't matter. They do not matter. And as a matter of fact, even if they were close to you, they don't, what they think does not matter. What matters is how you see yourself. What matters is that you love yourself. What matters is that you have that connection between you and whatever you believe in and you are accountable to. That is what matters. What anybody else says to you, what anybody else judges you at, whatever anybody else accuses you of or belittles you as, does not change who you are. You are not your weight. You are not somebody else's words. You are not somebody else's unkindness. You are the beautiful person inside you that sometimes you say, but I think I'm nice, but I think I'm a good person. You are. You are, I guarantee it. If that thought crosses your mind and you look at somebody who's having a hard time and you say, oh, honey, I wish I could help you. Let's talk. Let me help you. That's who you are. That's the good person you are. And you need to look at yourself and say, oh, honey, you're a good person. Let me see what I can do to help you, because you deserve your own love. You deserve other people's love. You deserve to feel good about yourself. And it's time you wake up. I mean it. Wake up. Shake yourself up. Wake yourself up. Shake yourself up. Get out of this place of lies. You can get out of the pit. You can get out of the darkness. You can get out of the shame and the guilt and the remorse. And you can break the habit of eating to cope, because you always need to eat and you always need to cope, but they don't go together. They have nothing to do with each other, except that your brokenness has led you to think that coping is the answer. So through my videos, let me help you learn the answers, how to cope with pain and past and stress, how to deal with things in a way that's healthy, how to get your body in a place where you go from no mobility to being able to walk 10 kilometers without losing your breath. I can walk 20 kilometers. One day when I was in Turkey last year, I walked 22 kilometers. Can you believe that? The first time I walked 2 blocks. And I was out of breath. And I thought I was going to die. And thank God there was a bus stop, because I sat down and I caught my breath. And I sat there for 10 minutes and I said, okay, I walked 2 blocks. What am I going to do? I've got to make it back home now. There's no way I cannot go home. I have to get home. So I got up and I walked the 2 blocks home. I got home, sat down, and I said, you just walked 2 blocks. You haven't done that for years. You can't walk across the living room without losing your breath, and you just walked 2 blocks. Yes, I was out of breath. Yes, I was sweating like a pig, but I walked 2 blocks. And so I did it the next day and the next day and the next day. And maybe 4 or 5 days later, I said, go a bit further, try 4. And I did 4 blocks. And you want to know something? I stopped panting very fast. I don't know why. I don't know how. I haven't researched why that happens, but I stopped panting and I stopped losing my breath, and my body got used to walking, and my body adjusted very quickly. And I guess it took me over a year, maybe 14 months, I calculated at some point, before I got to 10 kilometers. And I remember when I was stretching myself to go 5 kilometers, and it was so hard. And I remember pushing myself, just do 7 this time, just do 7 kilometers this time. For you Americans, that's about 3.5 miles approximately. But slowly things changed. I went from being a person who couldn't sit down in the doctor's office to sitting down and wiggling myself into a chair and thinking, I fit. I went from a person who couldn't put the robes on at the hairdresser to someone who wraps it around me now. I went from the person who couldn't paint my toenails to enjoying having sparkling, pretty toes again. I went from being the person who looked in the mirror with disgust to being a person who looks at myself and says, good for you. You did it. And it's not about having confidence for looking better. It's about making a decision, stepping that tiny little step forward. And that first step may only be, she did it, maybe I can. That is a step forward. And it's a huge, huge step. If you say maybe I can after saying I can't for years, understand how powerful that is. Understand that if you say maybe I can, what a difference that is from, oh, I could never do that. I wish I could, but I never could. I can never do that. If you feel for 1 second right now, maybe I can do it too. You've come a long way already. And I want you to join my channel. And I want you to do this with me. And I want you to ask questions. I will help you. I'm here for you. And I want you to know that if I can give you hope, if I can inspire you, if I can encourage you, I'm going to. I'm going to do what I can to help you. And yeah, I coach on the side, but I'm not here to get your money to coach. If you feel you need it, that's great. But if you don't feel, I'm not here to push that on anybody. It's people asked me and I did it. And I know I've had a little bit of friction about it, but I'm not here for your money. I'm here to help you, okay? So if all you do is watch my videos, I give everything I am. I give my entire heart, all of my experience, all of my joy, all of my finding, all of the habits I adopted in my videos. The only difference between coaching is that I might see your particular need a little bit differently, but it's the same teaching, it's the same strategies, and I just do it more personally. So no, you don't have to sign up for coaching, and you don't have to do anything except stick to it. Hang on to hope. Look at me and say, she did it. I can too. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. You can. Okay? You can. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to ask you to put in the comments if you're someone who has felt like you can't, like you're stuck, like this is forever, and now you see a little glistening strand. It might just be a spider's web thin strand of hope saying maybe. Why don't you hit the comments and say maybe? And I will know that you have a little strand of hope now that you didn't have before watching this video. And I will work with you as much as I can in the comments. I will help you as much as I can, and I'll get the videos out there and I'll point you in the right direction. And I will do what I can to help you get out of the dark, to help you get into the light, to help you to understand, to love yourself, to find joy again, to find happiness. Maybe you've never fully had it before. I can help you find it. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I will see you soon with more, because I always have more. Talk to you soon.